allegiance. Render the appropriate honors by placing your right hand over your heart. And now I'd like to introduce Band Director Mike Wassenaar, and I believe he is going to tell us a bit about our wonderful jazz band.
Thank you. The group that you see here in front of you is one of two jazz bands that we have in our program over at the high school. This is the Jazz Ensemble. This is our touring group. I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to play for you this evening. I'm going to introduce each member of the Jazz Ensemble. We're going to start first in the saxophone section. We've got baritone saxophone player, Mr. Derek Cox. Tenor saxophone, Kyla Bowden. Our alto saxophone section, Ashley Miracle. Our lead tenor, Mr. Kendrick Miller. Trombone section, we're going to stand up when they keep their name called so you can see them a little better. The bass trombone, Mr. Brendan Ponder. Trombone, Ms. Rosie Buckner. First chair, all district jazz trombonist, Mr. Nick Bales. And Mr. Connor Daffner. Trumpet section is going to stand as well. We're going to start on the other end this time with Mr. Tim Edwards. Mr. Trevor Turner. Mr. Carson Smith. And our featured vocalist this year is Miss Janine Crawford. Over the rhythm section, tickling the ivories, we have Miss Abby Serbrug. Mr. Bass himself, Gavin Malone. And over on the drum set, Miss Gabby Emery. Thank you again for giving us the opportunity to play today.
Thank you, and it's such a pleasure to be able to welcome you to our celebration. And I'd also like to thank our Joplin Junior ROTC. It's worthy to mention that next year they will be celebrating 100 years of service to the Joplin community. And I dare say that's one of the oldest, if not the oldest, junior ROTC program maybe west of the Mississippi. And haven't got that completely confirmed, but it's worthy to mention. And it's so exciting to think about the fact that 100 years ago, students entered this building, and that spring they walked across this stage to receive something of worth, and that was to graduate. And it's fitting that we celebrate this sturdy, strong structure that has served our community so long in an unwavered purpose, and that was to serve educationally our students. It's hard to find a structure that has stayed true to its original purpose all this time. And at one point or another, we have served pre-kindergarten all the way through college-age students with the origins of Joplin Junior College, which we can now look to as helping bring forth our own Missouri Southern University. So a rich heritage. And I want to brag a little bit on Greg Belk. He has worked tirelessly, and he can sit there and shake his head, but he has such an encyclopedic knowledge of the history of this town, and he's passionate about that. And we're going to hear more tonight from him about our community and its strong ties to education and its strong ties symbolized in this building. I get to work in this building daily, and I get to pass that very hallway on the way to my office, and it really is motivating to me as I pass and look inside this auditorium and think about the rich history that this embodies, and it just intensifies our commitment to attend to the safety and the learning of Joplin students, just like has happened in this building for 100 years. So it's a great time to be in Joplin, and I can assure you that the district is on the move, and the community can feel good about not only what has transpired the last 100 years, but let's enjoy tonight as we contemplate its rich history, but also look ahead to what the next 100 years will bring us here in Joplin. And with that, I would like to introduce our Joplin High School Sound Dimension students, and I believe they're going to provide some entertainment right before we hear from Brad Belk.
Good evening. Hello, my name is Monica Reynolds, and I am, along with Michelle Espinosa, direct the Joplin High School choirs. And at Joplin High School, we have 4 performing choirs. We have concert choir with 100 members. We have chorale with 40 members. We have our Touch of Class all-girl show choir that has 49 members. And we have Sound Dimension. It is our mixed boy-girl show choir that has 48 members. As you see, there are not 48 students up here. There are 17. We've had some illness hit our choir this week. And we have several students that are in other school activities this evening. But what you see before you is a small ensemble from Sound Dimension, and they would like to sing a couple of songs for you. The members of this group right here are, in the soprano section, Delaney Thompson, Zoe Brown, Keaton Campbell, Brianna Pace, and Anna Wynn. In the alto section, we have Abby Brower, Allie Tillman, Kaya Chaplin, and Isabella St. Clair. And in our tenor section, we have C.J. Huff, Jacob Hubbs, Corbin Chapman, and Angel Hernandez. In our bass section, we have Wyatt Reynolds, William Garner, Colton Phillips, and Bradley Oliver.
Good evening, and thank you for coming out for this celebration. And wow, we've witnessed some great musical entertainment from the outstanding talented students and faculty at Joplin High School, and we thank you. It's wonderful once again to hear the musical melodies bouncing off these hollow walls. Tonight we've got to give some thanks to some folks, and we've got a delegation of ambassadors and young tour guides that are coming our way. And for those that might want a tour after the program here, we're going to have these young folks at your disposal for them to show you around. This is Mrs. Hindy and Mrs. Hughes' kids, and they are, get them up here. We've got Noah Anderson, Noah Wave. We've got Reed Stanley. We got Maya Craven. We got Alex Brady. And we got Max Compton. And you can just imagine what these kids are going to see in their life and the history they're going to be able to view. And we're in good hands. Thank you, kids, for helping us out tonight. Thank you. I don't think she's here with us tonight, but Emily Yonkers did a wonderful job in the Joplin Globe front page, Sunday edition. Very well done. She's a great writer. And a special thanks to multi-talented Ashley Jones. She's in the back. She's the punch lady. She's the Director of Human Resources. Thank you, Ashley, for working out the many details of this event. And a big thank you to Dr. Moss. You know, we're extremely fortunate to have her as our school superintendent. Although she hasn't quite finished her first year, our paths have crossed on numerous occasions. Each and every time I've been impressed with her professional manner and her ability to relate to the students of today. Dr. Moss is an outstanding leader, and we are so fortunate to have her representing our schools. We are here tonight to celebrate this grand 100-year structure. And as Dr. Moss referred to, just think 100 years ago on this very day, students began taking classes in this building on January 22nd, 1918. And a few months later, as she alluded to, in the spring of 1918, the first graduating students walked across the stage and received their diplomas. It's hard to imagine the graduation classes, the speakers and lectures, assemblies, plays, and musical entertainers that are performed on this stage. What amazing history this building houses. Today, there are so few buildings left in our community that embody such compelling stories. For this special occasion, we have received two proclamations, one from Senator Ron Richard and another from Representatives Bill White and Charlie Davis. These fine gentlemen could not be with us this evening. They are in session in Jefferson City. However, we are grateful for their words of encouragement, and for those that are interested, their proclamations are on the table outside that door of the auditorium. It was in the midst of World War I that this three-story red brick building was constructed. And your program, right here, tonight gives insight into the historical narrative of these early years. Many thanks goes to Christina Williams for her excellent work in putting this brochure together. She did a great job. This program is a keepsake historical document that explains the story, but as we know, history can be presented in many ways. Recording first-person accounts provides an excellent venue to describe the past. Who better to tell the story than those that lived it? Last year, a committee of 15 people got together to discuss how we would recognize and celebrate the 100-year anniversary of this building. When the conversation concluded, the group focused on creating a film that will offer insight into this historical treasure. Over the past year, Brad Douglas and I interviewed 12 people the historical committee recommended. Tonight, we will give you some of the highlights into those interviews. Let me say, Brad and I are extremely honored to take part in this rewarding experience. We greatly appreciate everyone taking the time to share your school history with us. Every interview was memorable, and it was an incredible learning experience for both of us. In today's world, we seek inspiration and role models to follow. Well, folks, let me tell you, they are easy to find because they are with us tonight in this room. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the incredible cast that participated in this short film. I'm not going to put you on the spot too much, folks. I've got you down here on the first row and for a second. But I want to introduce you so that when your face and your name pops up, we'll have a little better understanding of who you are. Milo Harris is a Joplin High School graduate. He became a long-tenured teacher who devoted his life to his craft. Still today, his former students credit him for his caring and understanding qualities, his dedication to his students, and the way he challenged them to be good students as well as good citizens. Thank you, Milo. Sue Cook. Wow, what an incredible story. At the age of 103, let me say that again, 103. If there's a secret to life, Sue has the magic potion, and we want a part of that, Sue. She continues to impact our lives with her beautiful, magnetic personality. Sue is an inspiration to everyone she meets. Thank you, Sue. That brings me to Mr. Johnson, or as we all know him as Ken. Through our interview, we found out that he is a man with a huge heart, full of compassion, and boy, could we use more of that today. Kat's story is amazing. He shared with us what an orange bouncing round ball meant to him and his fellow beloved teammates and coach. Their story personified what teamwork is all about. They became a band of brothers that would never separate. Kat stated if the kids today would work together in a constructive manner, as he and his brothers did, we would not be facing some of the issues we are presently dealing with. Amen, sir. Thank you, Kat. Dr. Conrad Guevara was here briefly, and I'm sorry that he had to go, but I'm still going to talk about him. He is an immovable force that no one ever forgets. We interviewed him on this very stage, where he amazingly began to recite lines from a play he was in some 5 decades ago. Just think about that for a moment. Professor Guevara is a Missouri Southern legend. He is the longest continuing teaching professor in the history of the school. Well, thank you, Dr. Guevara, and continue the incredible work of inspiring today's university students. Keith Adams. Keith is emblematic of old school principles, where hard work, integrity, and honesty is practiced daily. In Keith's world, this code of ethics is never to be broken, and you are a model to follow those principles. Thank you, Keith. My good friend Henry Robinson is the man that never forgot his past nor the communities. And what is so astounding, he retains the history and graciously shares it with others. There's no finer Southern gentleman to pattern your life after, nor is there a better story than that. Thank you, Henry. Susie Alcorn still has the energy and enthusiasm of a cheerleader, a warming and contagious smile, and a refreshing spirit that can still be felt in these halls today. Thank you, Susie. Lloyd Buhner has a warm Ozark charm. He cares about the past, was the Joplin Junior College freshman vice president, and his JUCO diploma allowed him to reach higher as he became a respected and well-established practicing attorney. Good to see you. Ann Jernigan represents the more recent faculty that guided a variety of different age students into these classrooms and witnessed the many different changes that occurred in this building as the school became a junior high, Memorial Middle School, Memorial Education Center, 9th and 10th grades of Joplin High School. Thank you for your teacher's insight. Good to see you, Ann. The next 2 ladies found their love of their lives right here in this building. Diane Sadler married the star athlete, Kevin. Diane is a soft-spoken, kind-hearted, proud graduate of Memorial High School. We thank you for providing insight into the conversations you remember having outside your school locker. What a fun time of our lives to remember. Thank you, Diane. And Mary Ann Edwards also found love in these historic hallways and married her school sweetheart, Kate. Their marriage is 67 years strong. And interestingly, their wedding photograph that's in this video and all the wedding party were graduates of Joplin High School. Mary Ann possesses seasoned and sage wisdom. She defines the values of post-war America and captures the era of women's role following World War II. And It's my understanding that 4 generations of her family members are with us this evening. We welcome the Edwards family, and most especially your star, Mary Ann. Last but not least, Dr. Carrie Saketa has been fabulous to work with on this project. It was Carrie who started this ball rolling when he called the meeting to discuss the 100-year anniversary celebration. Dr. Saketa was a former high school principal and now is the assistant superintendent. He has been a devoted administrator that makes tough, wise decisions. Thank you for your service and leadership, Carrie. This film is a creation of Brad Douglas, sitting on the front row too, a familiar face of our community who entertained us for years with Brad's Beat, a show where we learned remarkable stories of people, places, and things. But we also became attached to this lovable guy behind the camera. It's been a great pleasure to work with you, and tonight we will once again see your rich talent in action. So, without further ado, I believe we'll drop the screen, Carrie, and we'll watch this film.
Oh my, is this old building could talk. The stories that it would have, you know.
My name's Henry Robertson, and I was with the great class of 1947, Joplin High School.
I'm Milo Harris from the class of 1947.
I am Mary Ann Moore, class of 1948.
Yeah, my name is Conrad Gubera. I attended Joplin Junior College here from 1958 through 1960.
My name is Lloyd Buhner. I was a student here at Joplin Junior College from 1962 through 1964.
My name is Susie Alcorn, class of 1975.
Hey, I'm Cat Johnson, class of 1978, the Joplin Memorial Eagles.
My name is Diane Sadler, the class of 1978.
I'm Ann Jernigan. I taught here from 1993 to 2000.
It is a part of history, and through the years, too much of that's been lost.
It's really hard to imagine how many students have gone up these historic stairs through the years.
The hallways look the same. Just every room I see, I remember a teacher that was in that room. And I'm just tickled that they have kept it in the school system. My brothers went here for I think it was junior college back then. It means a lot because it's a gorgeous building.
This building to me was important because it enabled me to get a better education, and also it allowed me to make friends, establish acquaintances that I still cherish.
They laid the cornerstone in 1917 on George Washington's birthday, and it took 1 whole year to build this 3-story magnificent structure.
There wasn't any air conditioning in the high school back in those days, and quite frankly, we didn't even didn't pay any attention to the temperature. Another thing I remember is how narrow the stairs are. If you'd asked me how wide they were, I'd tell you they're about 1/3 bigger than they actually are.
Wonderful memories of this building. I loved teaching in this building. There's so much character to it. And 2 years I worked for the middle school model school grant, and I had an office up on the 3rd floor. The steps I remember because I fell down them once. But
I haven't been back in this building for years, and I can still see and feel the atmosphere.
Met my husband here. His mother was really instrumental in that she kind of got us together, and it just hit off, and it was love at first sight.
I met my husband on the 3rd floor of Joplin High School, the last semester of high school. We grew up during that period of the war and afterwards, so a lot of our life and our social were rounded around the war.
I remember the ROTC. Just about every boy in school was in ROTC. There were a few exceptions, of course, but ROTC was the big thing.
One of the most valuable courses I ever took here was typing, taught by Miss Best, and she was the best at the best.
Linda Weaver made everything very easy to learn. She was a general science teacher. It seems like yesterday because I really am not any older. I still act like a high school kid sometimes, which is sad, but I don't want to, you know, you think about that and you look at your books and you're like, gosh, where did the time go?
And of course we were playing with pre-World War II uniforms. We had the soft helmets and no face masks and old woolen jerseys and football pants and the new uniforms were ordered. And Kaminsky kept promising us every week, the new uniforms will be in next week. Next week. Well, next week never came. But the big thing that I remember was the Thanksgiving Day game against Springfield. Springfield had one high school at that time. My senior year, it was Springfield's turn to be the home team. So we loaded up in an old 1936 Rio school bus that was sputtering. We barely made it to Springfield, to the football field. When we played that game, but the key thing I remember is, in addition to winning 13-6, was that we were still in our old beat-up uniforms. But the week before, Springfield got their new uniforms, and they came out with these molded plastic helmets with face masks, and the slick pants, and the slick jerseys, and they suited up 70 players, and they kept coming out and coming out. It was just like a wave of players kept coming out of these dressing rooms. And there were only 16 of us. And we were already on the field to be warming up first. And here they came. Well, the bottom line was we beat them 13-6. It was Thanksgiving Day. And after the game, we changed back into our street clothes, packed away our old dirty uniforms in our duffel bags. A couple of us went to Coach Kaminsky and we said, we won the game, we're hungry, it's Thanksgiving. How about buying the team a Thanksgiving dinner in Springfield? Kaminsky says, hey, I don't spend money in Springfield. I'm not going to spend any money over here. If we're going to spend money, we'll spend it in Joplin.
And just playing in this gym in those two years, 64-1, is some of the best times of my life.
I can tell you, we're playing really a lot better than I thought we would. You know, I don't know how far you can go with a 6'1.5" center and 5'11" forwards, but
come back in here and just bring back memories. You remember, I mean, looking at up in the bleachers and it's full of people and people waiting to get in to watch you play, and that was an exciting time for me and my guys that played. And it's just, I know I'm tearing up, I'm sorry, but it's some great times in this gym, and I mean, something you never forget.
I want to tell you the story about a classmate of mine, Hoppy Folk, who was blind. He was a student here. He had a little foreign car. I'm not sure what it was, maybe a little French Peugeot, a little compact car. And he was the only guy in school that had a car. So he and his brother would drive that car to school every day. And he would drive it. And his brother would tell him when to stop and turn. And then one day, we tried to bring that car into school, into this building. And so a bunch of us picked that car up. It wasn't very heavy. And we carried it up the front steps of the school. and almost got it in, but we were met at the front door by Glenn R. Dithridge, the eminent principal of this school, and he didn't say a word. He just looked at us and gave the motion of turn around and go back.
I'm Susie Cook of the class of 1932, and I'm 103 years old. I'm one of the oldest, and my mother didn't drive, so I drove the car. And I'd get up and go to the spring and get spring water to put in my car. And then when I got to school, I would drain it because I knew it would freeze. Seems like we had colder winters. And after school then, I had to drive down to a filling station and put water back in it.
Frankly, and maybe this is a jaundiced view, but all of my members of the junior college are positive and good. Most of us came from small high schools. No one had the big schools like they have today, and so we came from little shoebox high schools. And this building seemed huge to us, in all honesty.
I think over the years they've maintained this. You couldn't build this building now. It needs to be maintained. It will be a benefit together with Memorial Hall. I'm kind of fond of that place too, you know.
In 1915, whenever they were deciding to move from Byers to this location for a new high school, the Board of Education cited all kinds of reasons of the present structure the high school was located in that was deficient. And they knew they had a really high bar where the 2/3 majority needed to pass a bond issue, so they pulled out all the stops. They had a parade of over 5,000 students, which probably would have been almost all the students in the district at that time, one night on Main Street, and then a couple nights later they made sure that the high school band marched up and down, and that all the kids had carried banners that said, "We want a new high school." So when they had the election, it was a landslide. When we sat down and we talked about the 2012 bond issue, the question was, how can we push this over the top? So Jasper County allowed us, for students that lived in Jasper County, to be able to register to vote at school. So our secretaries were deputized, so to speak. As many as 70 or 80 of our seniors did register to vote. You know, your vote counts. It always does count. It means something. You're an American. And we don't know how you voted. We probably have a pretty good idea. And that students made a big impression and pushed it over the edge.
100 years, and let's keep it another 100 years. Let's keep it going.
A certain awe of it. And I step in this building, I still feel that way, see? And to me, that's what a building like this represents. I hope it and, you know, Memorial Hall never cease to exist, you know, but, you know, remain, for instance, intact and in repair, because I think they're both a wonderful tribute to our community.
My advice to the class of 2018 is to enable yourself to take advantage of every educational opportunity and endear yourself with your friends.
You know, this is a fantastic school we went to, and you look back and it's just, didn't know how good I had it till you leave and you want to go back and do it again.
I'm Susie Cook of the class of
Linda Weaver made everything very easy.
Frankly, and maybe this is a jaundiced view, but all I'm good.
It might be to go back, but no, I don't think.
Been back in this building for years.
Down quite a bit. And
Wonderful memories of this building. I loved teaching.
It was love at first sight. We neither one.
Well, I felt, of course, like I accomplished. It's really